On the morning of August 19th, at a secret command base near Kyiv, Ukrainian intelligence officers caught worrying signals from their spy network and reconnaissance satellites. Reports from Western allies, paired with data from Bayraktar TB2 drones patrolling near the border, showed unusual activity at Russian bases in Shatalovo, Bryansk, and Milerovo. Satellite images revealed mobile launchers 9P-78-1 for Iskander-M ballistic missiles being prepared at Chowda in Crimea. At the same time, Russian radar units were seen setting up the 9S-36 fire control system, which can guide Iskander-M missiles with an accuracy of just 5 to 7 meters. Meanwhile, trucks loaded with dozens of Shahed-136 unmanned aerial vehicles traveling at 180 kilometers per hour with a range of 2,000 kilometers and a 40-kilogram explosive warhead were spotted at Primorsko-Akhtarsk. Decoy drones, unarmed but sending out radar signals mimicking the Shahed, also popped up in reports, hinting at a plan to confuse Ukrainian air defenses. By noon, Kolchuga radar stations, capable of detecting targets up to 600 kilometers away and picking up radar signals in the 0.1 to 18 gigahertz range, started catching signals from Russian bases. Analysts at the Kharkiv command center figured out Russia was gearing up for a coordinated attack using Iskander-M ballistic missiles, reaching hypersonic speeds of 6 to 7 times the speed of sound, with a 500-kilometer range and a 700-kilogram warhead, either fragmentation or high explosive, alongside a swarm of unmanned aerial vehicles. Alerts were quickly sent to air defense units across northern and eastern Ukraine. Commanders ordered all air defense systems into action, from Patriot and Iris-T to local Buk M1 and S-300 units. NASAMS systems, armed with AIM-120 AMRAAM missiles that can reach 40 kilometers and an altitude of 15,000 meters, were placed around key spots near Kyiv and Dnipro. Electronic warfare teams were on high alert, with advanced jammers ready to mess with the guidance systems of Russian missiles and drones. In Okhtyrka, a key city in the Sumy region, civil defense forces sprang into action. Air raid sirens were tested, and people were urged to get ready to take shelter. Mobile fire teams, armed with 12.7mm DSK machine guns and shoulder-fired Stinger missiles with a 5-kilometer range and infrared targeting, were positioned at high points around the city. Meanwhile, at air bases near Chernihiv, MiG-29 and Su-27 squadrons were put on standby, ready to take off and intercept low-flying targets. Pilots were equipped with night vision goggles and upgraded GPS navigation for effective operations in low light. Ukraine knew this attack wasn't just a military move, but a Russian attempt to break civilian morale after failed peace talks in Alaska, where negotiations fell apart over border control disputes. As evening fell, Ukrainian air defenses switched to combat mode. Near Sumy, a United States-supplied Patriot system was activated. Its PAC-3 interceptors, traveling at 5 times the speed of sound with a 20-kilometer range and 20,000-meter altitude capability, were the main defense against Iskander-M missiles. The Patriot's AN/MPQ-53 radar, able to track 100 targets at once and tell real from decoy with 99% accuracy, was fine-tuned to spot hypersonic objects. In Kharkiv, Buk M1 systems, armed with 9 M317 missiles that can reach 50 kilometers and an altitude of 22,000 meters, were set up to counter low-flying unmanned aerial vehicles. S-300 systems, with 5 V-55R missiles offering a 90-kilometer range and a 133-kilogram explosive warhead, were placed at key locations to create a layered defense network. Short-range Tor M1 systems, with 9 M331 missiles and a 12-kilometer range, were deployed to protect critical infrastructure like bridges and power plants. Electronic warfare units using Bukovel AD jammers with a 10 to 15-kilometer range were positioned at strategic spots. These systems could scramble GPS and radar signals of Shahed unmanned aerial vehicles, making them veer off course or crash. Mobile fire teams, armed with Zu-23-2 autocannons, firing 2,000 rounds per minute, and Stinger missiles, were stationed along roads and in urban areas. These units were backed by Kozak-2 armored vehicles, equipped with target search radars and encrypted communications. At command posts, officers used NATO-supplied Link 16 data links to share real-time information between air defense, air force, and electronic warfare units, cutting reaction times to 2 to 3 seconds. Everything was ready, but a heavy tension hung in the air as everyone knew a storm was coming. At 7:30 in the evening, air raid sirens blared across northern and eastern Ukraine. From Chauda in Crimea, 2 Iskander-M missiles were launched from 9 P-78-1 platforms. Traveling at 6 times the speed of sound, they streaked into the sky, leaving white smoke trails stretching dozens of meters. The missiles followed a curved path, climbing to 50,000 meters before diving almost straight down, making interception incredibly tough. Their inertial and GPS guidance, supported by GLONASS, allowed constant path adjustments to dodge interceptors. Ukrainian radars quickly picked up 2 hypersonic streaks moving from the south towards strategic targets, possibly command centers in Kharkiv or infrastructure in Sumy. At the same time, 93 Shahed-136 unmanned aerial vehicles and decoy drones were launched from Shatalovo, Bryansk, Milarovo, and Primorsko-Akhtarsk. The Shaheds, with their distinctive motorcycle-like engine noise, flew at low altitudes of 50 to 200 meters, using hilly and forested terrain to hide from radar. Decoy drones, designed to mimic Shahed radar signals, created dozens of false targets on Ukrainian screens. Russia split the unmanned aerial vehicles into 5 waves of 15 to 20 drones, approaching from different directions. Shatalovo groups targeted Chernihiv, Bryansk groups aimed at Sumy, Milarovo groups advanced on Kharkiv, and Primorsko-Akhtarsk and Chauda headed for central regions. Some unmanned aerial vehicles carried infrared emitters as decoys, making it harder for Stinger missiles and low-altitude defenses to lock on. At a radar station near Chernihiv, officers spotted 20 slow-moving blips from the north. Kolchuga systems confirmed these were Shahed-136 unmanned aerial vehicles mixed with decoy signals. Orders were given. Buk M1 units in the area opened fire. A 9 M317 missile was launched, locking onto 3 Shaheds at 100 meters. An explosion confirmed 3 targets destroyed, with debris falling in a field near the border. But the drone swarm kept coming, with some groups weaving through forests to avoid radar. Some Shaheds were detected making sudden course changes, likely due to pre-programmed random navigation, making it hard to predict their paths. In Sumy, a Patriot system was activated to counter an Iskander-M missile. Its AN/MPQ-53 radar detected the missile approaching at 6 times the speed of sound. A PAC-3 interceptor, traveling at 5 times the speed of sound with active guidance, was launched. At 15,000 meters, the interceptor met the Iskander-M, triggering a blinding explosion. Radar confirmed the Russian missile's destruction, with debris falling in an unpopulated area. However, the second Iskander-M kept going, its path shifting constantly, slipping through the radar net and vanishing from screens. Commanders couldn't pinpoint its target, but fear spread. A strategic site or civilian area might be hit. Later analysis suggested the second missile targeted a Sumy power plant, but Russian ground-based jammers disrupted radar signals. Meanwhile, the fight against Shahed unmanned aerial vehicles raged across the north and east. In Kharkiv, mobile fire teams on hilltops used Zu-23-2 autocannons to target low-flying drones. 3 Shaheds were downed, their 40-kilogram warheads exploding in the night. Stinger missiles, fired from elevated positions, locked onto drones at 150 meters. One Stinger hit a Shahed, detonating it mid-air, with debris crashing into a forest. The sheer number of drones forced teams to keep moving to avoid detection. Scout units with many drones provided precise coordinates for air defense systems. Electronic warfare units using Bukovel AD started disrupting operations. Near Sumy, technicians activated jammers, scrambling GPS signals of 15 Shahed unmanned aerial vehicles. Some drones veered off course, crashing in fields, while others self-detonated due to system failures. Decoy drones confused Ukrainian radars, mixing real and false signals and forcing manual target checks. Some radars picked up false signals from Russian emitters, making it hard to prioritize targets. In Chernihiv, a MiG-29 squadron took off at 8 in the evening, armed with R-73 air-to-air missiles with a 30-kilometer range and infrared guidance. Using N019 radars, detecting targets at 70 kilometers, pilots spotted 10 Shaheds at 200 meters. 2 R-73 missiles destroyed 4 drones in one strike. But the overwhelming number of drones forced the jets to return for refueling, leaving ground units to keep fighting. S-300 systems in the east fired 5 V-5R missiles, downing 5 Shaheds at 300 meters. Explosions lit up the sky in a fierce, terrifying display. MiG-29 pilots reported some Shaheds flying as low as 30 meters, evading radar and forcing visual targeting. By 10 in the evening, Russia's attack reached its peak. A group of 15 Shahed unmanned aerial vehicles from Primorsko-Akhtarsk slipped through radar gaps, targeting Okhtyrka'da in Sumy. Local defenses, with machine guns and Stinger missiles, tried to intercept, but 4 Shaheds broke through, striking a residential area. The explosions shook the city, destroying 3 homes and injuring 12 people, including 2 children. Ambulance sirens wailed as rescue teams rushed to the scene, searching for survivors amid the rubble. Initial reports indicated 1 unmanned aerial vehicle hit a fuel warehouse, sparking a massive fire that spread to nearby areas, worsening the damage. The battle raged until 2 in the morning on August 20th. Exhausted Ukrainian air defenses kept going. A German-supplied IRST system, with missiles reaching 40 kilometers and an altitude of 20,000 meters, downed 3 Shaheds near Kharkiv. Electronic warfare units disabled 10 more drones by jamming their guidance. Some neutralized unmanned aerial vehicles were recovered, revealing Russian upgrades to Shahed-136 navigation with anti-GPS jamming modules. By 4 in the morning, as dawn broke, Ukrainian defenses had destroyed 62 unmanned aerial vehicles, including Shaheds and decoys, using missiles, guns, and electronic warfare. Yet, 31 unmanned aerial vehicles and the second Iskander-M breached defenses, hitting 20 targets from infrastructure to civilian areas. Russia's attack, with 2 Iskander-M missiles and 93 unmanned aerial vehicles, was a massive strike showing off military power and clever tactics. Russia mixed low-cost Shahed unmanned aerial vehicles with hypersonic missiles to overwhelm Ukraine's defenses while putting psychological pressure on civilians. Russian Orlan-10 drones provided real-time targeting data, boosting strike accuracy. Ukraine's careful preparation and bravery destroyed 1 Iskander-M and 62 unmanned aerial vehicles, preventing a potentially catastrophic assault. The Okhtyrka attack, injuring 12, showed the heavy toll of war, but Ukraine's resilience prevented a worse disaster. This battle, after the failed Alaska talks, proved the Russia-Ukraine conflict is far from over. Yet, with Allied support and unyielding determination, Ukraine stands strong against the steel storm.